let us look at some of the PYQs of these 4-5 topics. फिर उसके बाद ना population का nature change हो जाएगा discussion का. So I have discussed 5 topics. Population distribution, then we have done population growth patterns, then we have done population theories, we have done population growth of India. अलग से कराया हमने, and the 5th one we have done is the migrations. So based on these topics, let us see what are the questions asked, and I expect कि आप ये question लिख लेंगे. Okay, write down the questions. Let us see the PYQs. Write down. 2023 में, I'm only focusing on the topics I have taught you. Okay, 2023 में, what are the questions asked? Some of you have written that already. Has Malthusian theory been discredited in contemporary times? Justify your answer. 10 marks. एक और question है. Last year, 2023 में ही है. Human migration is a reflection of balance between push and pull factors. Elaborate with reference to the most recent diaspora. Question पढ़ो एक बार. Let's see. You know, the best part is, ये question मैंने पहले भी पढ़ाया है. Some other context, part of enrichment or part of MS whatever. I've taught something then. When I again see the question, I realize, अरे यार, ये point छूट ही गया था मेरा. Every time I discuss the question, I find something new to discuss and talk about. Because these questions are like new dimensions opening up slowly, gradually. Beautiful question. इसे बताएंगे इसमें focus क्या है इस question का? Human migration is a reflection of balance between push and pull factors. Elaborate with reference to most human diaspora. Focus कहाँ पर है? Where's the focus? What is the core theme of this migration है मुझे पता है. The focus is the word balance. Is not asking what are the factors. वो तो assumed है. The focus is बताओ ये balance कैसे होता है. And how the trends tell us balance is more important. So any migration push होगा और pull भी होगा. Got it? But the trend is towards some kind of a balance. आपको इसके बारे में बोलना है. Means if a place has push, the other place has no pull, I will not have migration. If a place has a pull, but there is no push, there's no migration. It keeps on happening till the balance is reached. When the balance is not reached, it goes on. If reached, the migration stops. Okay, आपको वो बताना है. Okay, so tell us the migration and एक और question, paper 1 में है और India बोल नहीं रहा है, right? In reference to most recent diaspora, Chinese diaspora, African diaspora, Indian diaspora, Central Asian maybe. Okay, your choice. So the theme is migration, but how they treat it is tricky. Diaspora बोला मतलब it is international migration. It is not about internal migration. So Indians going outside. आप बताओ, India का किस region के साथ में balance है? And that's why very less migration. India has push factors. Which region of India, of the world, you can say there's some balance, and therefore the migration is slowing down or will not happen? India, Nepal के साथ में. The population coming from Nepal, strong push factors. And there are some pull factors in India. But because India is able to meet some of those needs, so migration towards India is reducing. अच्छा example होगा India and Middle East, खासकर Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia has had historically very less labor. So all type of jobs में Indians were going there. Indians are going, Bangladeshis, Pakistan, Filipinos, they all go to Middle East and Saudi Arabia. Now when Saudi Arabia has their own labor force capable of working, अब उनका pull कम रहा है. So now they're denying visas to Indians, right? An example of balance is now setting off. While India might have push, Middle East is losing the pull. Today, the push-pull is more for high technology skills. India has a good push factor because यहाँ पर amenities नहीं है. Good education background, but not enough jobs. And high skill jobs required हैं. Europe में, Japan में, US में. So the trend continues. Lot of pull in Australia, but which type of pull is there? The pull for the high skill population. ये discussion होगा आपका. Think of garment textile sector. Okay? There's a pull of low skilled labor. And today, Indian labor is not as low skilled and low wage nahi hai. You'll find a lot of these things are shifting towards Bangladesh, Vietnam, Cambodia. बहुत जगह pull भी है, push भी है. Then my answer is migration is not always because of the push-pull imbalance. एक intervening factor है called laws also. So there can be pull, there can be push. But yet no migration, even if there is no balance, because laws can be tweaked and the conditions can be changed. Think about migration of Syrians to Germany. Classic scale of push-pull imbalance and migration. Strong push Syria, Germany needs labor, a strong pull. And that's how last 6-7 years this has happened. So pick up 4-5 examples. और आपके notes में है ये चीज. It's just that you must see the notes in the new light of the word balance. Right now, I am not giving you an answer. I am only demonstrating कि सवाल पूछ कैसा रहा है. That's why when I classify questions, I classify as L1, L2 and L3 questions. L1 questions जो होते हैं वो एकदम straight वाले होते हैं. So सोचना नहीं है, right? Ravenstein's laws. Straight question. Write a note on the critical analysis of Malthus theory. Straight question. Maybe Malthus theory analysis 20 साल पहले was a tricky question. Today it has become a norm. So L1 questions are straight questions. L3 questions are thinking questions. आपको अप्लाई करना पड़ेगा. So if I ask this to you कि ये बताओ ये question कैसा question है, most of you would have said it is L1 because आपको push pull दिखाई दे रहा है ना. आपको ना diaspora दिखाई दे रहा है और ना balance दिखाई दे रहा है. आपको diaspora notice ही नहीं हो रहा है. Now you'll realize कि यार ये L1 दिख नहीं रहा है. Actually it is an L3 question. It requires analysis, thinking, application. They are testing very high level of skills. You're not giving a regular examination. You are supposed to think at a different level. For that, I can guide you. I can probably goad you. I can maybe explain how it can be done. But आप पहले खुद सोचेंगे, all of you. एक और question लिखो, again 23. The stages of demographic transition are a reflection of uneven development across the globe. Explain with suitable examples. Actually, I'm at awe कि ये frame कैसे करते हैं सवाल. Same theory, same topic, okay, and how they can spin the question. The stages of demographic transition are reflection of uneven economic development across the globe. Explain with examples. So stage 1, so in the world, different countries are in different demographic stages. Now, the stages ka difference, is it because of time factor? Is it because of cultural factor? Two difference hai batao. It's like this, dekho. If you talk in terms of history, let me explain this question to you, okay? Talk in terms of history. You realize history of India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, even China for that matter, okay, is very similar. These areas ka development ek saath shuru hua. All of them had people 4,000-5,000 years ago. All of them were under colonial rule at the same time. More or less, all of them also got freedom at the same time. So you look at the South Asia, even Southeast Asia utha lo aap. They all got freedom wahi 40s, 50s mein, zyada farak nahi tha. If demographic transition was a function of time, then all the areas should have been in the same demographic stage. India, Pakistan compare kar lo. Same history, same log, same culture, same habits, same traditions, same belief systems, same poverty, same farmers, sab same hai. If demographic transition was a function of time, then India and Pakistan ka curve should have been perfectly same. Both go down or both go up. In both cases, the death rate for the same time. In both cases, the birth rate at the same time. Sab same hona chahiye tha. Aisa hai kya? Which means, although the theory has talked about how birth rate and death rate change in time, in reality, the birth rate change and the death rate change is not a function of time. It's a function of levels of development. India is in stage 3, hopefully to cross into stage 4 by maybe 2050 or 60. Pakistan is stage 2 में है और late part of stage 2. Stage 4 अभी बहुत देर है, maybe turn of century maybe. China is in stage 4 coming back towards stage 3, right? इसको ऐसे डिस्कस करना है. So the variations we have in the demographic transition is actually not a function of time. It's a function of level of development. और development किस type का बताएंगे? Economic development, social development, policies, democracy, and go on there, govern and so on. तो हमारा क्वेश्चन यहाँ पर, अब बताओ L1, L2, L3 क्या है ये? It's not L1 definitely. You can put it L2 or L3 types. So question ना समझना अपने आप में, it's an art. Catch the question. Okay. Somebody asked me कि सर ऐसा क्या सब बच्चे सोचते होंगे इतना? Okay. I said no. वो एक सोचता होगा 100 में और वही क्वालिफाई करता है. बाकी 99 are part of ORN economy. We need you. Otherwise समोसा दुकान बंद हो जाएगा. Rentals will not be as high. Okay. If you are not there, okay, रिक्शा वालों का जॉब चला जाए. You are doing a great service. Okay. Ambani is running economy with 5,000 crore marriage. You also run the economy. Okay. Rankers वो एक होगा 100 में because he spends time thinking on the questions. History of Germany, Denmark, France, and UK has been almost same, but they vary in terms of their demography stage. France is not like Germany ka demographic composition, because in France you got higher levels of poverty, you still have agrarian economy. Germany is very urbanized. Germany is industrialization. Okay, so Germany in Europe has moved towards stage 4 much, much faster. If you look at post-World War II, post-World War II, Japan was stage 1, if not stage 3, 4, flattened by Hiroshima, Nagasaki bombing. If you see the achievement of Japan compared to other countries in the neighborhood, Japan's achievement is because of its level of development. Compare South Korea, North Korea, same history, same people, the same type of post-World War challenge. North Korea is probably stage 2, maybe stage 3, but doubt it. But South Korea definitely moving towards stage 4 and stabilize. Unka TFR is 1.5, 1.6. 4 example में answer बढ़िया हो गया आपका. You can compare also Middle East, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait. Okay, Kuwait has much higher levels of development. Or compare Iran and Iraq. ये तो आपको पता पढ़ाया भी है आपको मैं. Iraq's war has impacted their achievements. 4 examples. Okay, India and South Asia, one example. One example with respect to the big countries of Europe. One example from Middle East. Okay, and maybe one from East Asia or maybe Korea's. For example, tell us that demographic transition is actually not a temporal transition. It is a development transition, which the theory had assumed is implicit in the model. Okay, theory बताता थोड़ी है कि why it has declined. Why declined? Okay, we have explained afterwards. The theory only says that this is how the decline happens. The model is a description of how things change. It does not tell us why. Why तो हमने डाला है. Medical revolution. हमने डाला है. Urbanization. We have said population momentum inertia. The theory did not say all of that. That's why demographic transition theory is actually like a development theory. All fine here? That's why don't leave population transitions to time कि अपने आप हो जाएगा. Okay, you have to intervene through deliberate policies to bring demographic transition. जैसे child is born, वो चलना सीख जाएगा. It is granted. A child is born, he will become a teenager and will become an adult. Okay, आपको सिखाने की जरूरत नहीं है. That's a time-based change. That is a preordained, okay, deterministic change. ये हो जाएगा. But can a child learn to write? That is not time-based. आपको सिखाना पड़ेगा. Can a child learn skills of something, what or trade, whatever? वो आपको सिखाना पड़ेगा. Can a child learn manners and behavior and courtesy? नहीं, वो सिखाना. That is not a time-bound thing. This was the focus of the question. समझ में आया all of you? Okay. So देखो, 1 year 3 questions. अभी मैंने खत्म भी नहीं किया population. And this question was worth 15 marks. इसके अलावा एक और भी क्वेश्चन, 2 और क्वेश्चंस हैं पॉपुलेशन पे. One on gender, one also on problems of inequalities. 5 questions एक साल में पूछा है, of which 3 questions are compulsory questions. Best part is that 30 marks आ रहा था इसमें compulsory, बाकी आप उठा लेते. Okay, so that's paper 1. Paper 2 में, from what I have taught you, write down paper 2 का question 23. With falling fertility rates and rising median age, how can India translate demographic dividend into economic dividend? Wow. पहला part बहुत important है. See, I can read the question as, what is demographic dividend? Explain. I can read the question as, how can we benefit from demographic dividend? I can read the question as, how can the demographic dividend be converted into an economic reality, whatever? ये सारे में पहला पार्ट दिखाई नहीं दे रहा है. In a condition where the fertility rate is declining and the median age is increasing, क्या कहना चाह रहा है यहाँ पर? Yes. Okay. Our dependency ratio in the future, okay, is increasing. Our future dividend will become lesser. अब बताओ, how quickly can I convert into economic benefits? What's the meaning of fertility is declining very fast? मतलब क्या है? Basically, in the future, less people will add into the working age group. अभी बहुत fast कमने वाला है. And my age is increasing, median age. मतलब more and more people are coming out of the dividend. So tell us, how can we harness demographic dividend advantage when the window of the advantage is reducing? This was the point. How can we benefit when in the future, okay, the dependency ratio will increase? Okay, less and less young होंगे and more aging population होगा. अब उसमें बताओ कि क्या करना पड़ेगा. This question has everything, सब लिखो. But in the light of how the advantage is quickly shrinking, उसमें focus important है. You can't ignore that. Okay, so your ratio of dependency ratio क्या है? Percentage of, okay, children, okay, plus percentage of aging divided by percentage of the working population. अगर ये घट रहा है, मतलब आगे चल के ये भी कमने वाला है, right? आगे चल के this guy will come up here. Net effect is the ratio will decline. अभी remember 0.4 approximately है. Okay, it's nice up to 0.5 से 1 के अंदर में. Beyond 1 it now becomes dangerous. आपको उस context में लिखना है. How to harness it? Okay, we have to have quick skilling. How to harness it? Very fast economic expansion, particularly manufacturing. How to harness it? Okay, the female population who are substantial. Because if the TFR is falling, more and more women are adding in the workforce. So a female population skilling and absorption is very important. Now you will say, increase the women participation ratio. Okay, because median age is rising, therefore have policies for harnessing the second demographic dividend. even then you can't absorb all of them. We have to have some mechanism by which our populations can benefit from out migrations also. But जो करना है आप करें उसके बाद. Did you all understand the question now, import? Imagine, अगर आपने प्रैक्टिस नहीं किया है, एग्जाम हॉल में आप क्या करोगे इसका? Okay, आप लेके आ जाओगे what is dividend? Okay, what are the advantages and what we must do? You've forgotten the first part completely. Believe me, if 10 people give the mains, 8 of them don't deserve to give the mains. Because वो बस निकाल लिया पीटी, उसका मेंस वाला माइंड ही नहीं है, राइटिंग थिंकिंग है ही नहीं. And of the 2 left, okay, one doesn't understand the question or writing is poor. Only one guy understands the question better. So many people come and cry, sir, nahi ho raha mains. मैं बोल नहीं पाता हूं. Okay, because the teacher, I'm running institute also, I don't want to discourage. I want to tell them somewhere, but औकात नहीं है आपका भी. Go back and do the work again. अच्छा, ठीक है, okay. I will not dictate the answer to you, but you can write on one paragraph at least what the question means. Okay, जब देखेंगे, we'll see what we can do. ठीक है, लिख लो. About this question, जो median वाला जो लिखा आपको question लिखा, write a short paragraph. Write a paragraph लिखो आप. It's like I'm explaining the question to you. Okay. Point number one is that this question is not about what is demographic dividend and its benefits. Number 2, it is also not about how to harness demographic dividend. In general, the question is set in the context of or in the reference of a demographic reality for India, where the window of the advantage is very short. There will be progressively lesser additions to the working population, and India will witness rapid aging. The question is asking the urgency with which the working population has to be trained and employed, and the reality of India's low job creation, low female participation rates, and rapidly expanding older population. In this context, we must discuss how can we have a policy or economic reforms to take the advantage of India's current youthful population. मतलब क्वेश्चन समझाने में ऐसे लिखा दिया. Anyways, I hope ये help करेगा बाद में whenever you revise it. Okay, question समझना is important. Okay, others also. ठीक है. About other question, this was 20 mark question. This dividend wala paper 2 mein hai, 20 mark question. This question is not about explaining what is demographic transition theory. The question is asking if we can establish the reason why different countries are in different demographic stage is because of differences in levels of development. Next point likho. Demographic transition model is studied as a temporal model. That is, demographic transitions happen in time or happen through time. If this was true, all countries with the same history should have been in the same demographic stage. For example, the history of India, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. क्या मतलब है? Put hyphen. और उसका मतलब क्या है? Same all civilization roots, comma, common colonial history of exploitation, comma, comparable year in independence, yet the countries of South Asia are not in the same demographic stage. Next, the same can be said about North and South Korea. Same race, same history, almost comparable levels of development. The 1950s, I think Korean War was 53, I think, right? तब तक तो almost same था. Yet South Korea is in stage 4, TFR of 1.5, 1.6, with declining populations, while North Korea has events of famines, epidemics, okay, and stage 2 in DTM. Stage 2, North Korea stage 2 में है, and South Korea is in stage 4. So this theory or this question is asking to elaborate how the variations are a consequence of development achievements and not really time-based deterministic. ठीक है? So I'm trying to explain कि आप पढ़ के आप समझ तो लो कि क्वेश्चन क्या पूछ रहा है. Okay. Other question. Okay, just mention 2 lines there. जो migration वाला था, balance वाला question था. The focus of the question is human migration is a reflection of the balance between push and pull factors. Elaborate with reference to most recent diaspora. The question is not about the push-pull theory or the causes of migration. The question is about migration as a consequence of the balance or lack of it, lack of push-pull. And this to be explained with examples of recent international migrations. Okay, the last year का question बताया मैंने. I'm not done. शुरू किया तो कर ही लेते हैं इसको एक बार. The questions 22 में लिखो, question लिखो. How migration is affected by push and pull factors, and explain how these factors play a role in, and explain how the factors play a role in understanding new settlement patterns. ये आपने पढ़ा नहीं है. An example where not they are linking 2 units. This is also an example of a level 2 or level 3. ये level 2 में आएगा, the interlinkages. Okay? The role of understanding new settlement patterns, new urban areas, new rural areas, expansion. The shape is because of some push-pull factors. Okay, ये पूछा हुआ question. 21 में aging population has, लिखो, aging population has adverse social and economic consequences. Explain with examples. L1 question, straight. Like aging population has problems. Give examples. 2020 में distinguish between mobility and migration. What are the causes and consequences of rural to urban migration in India? This is L1 or L2, but not L3. The difference is the word mobility. Or it's impossible. Anybody would have taught it like this. आपको वही एग्जाम में सोचना पड़ेगा. Mobility और migration. आपको करना होगा, create करना होगा. What do you think mobility is? Basically, population is moving. Examples of mobility which are not migration क्या क्या है? Yes, transhumance, commuting, circulation, याद आ रहा है? Tourism, yes. वही समझाना पड़ेगा आपको. So then you define what migration is. Relatively permanent change in residence. Okay, give examples of migrations. Mobility is the propensity of people to change the locations. And why they change? Tourism. Why they change? Commuting to and fro. Why they change? Transhumance. Don't leave it here. Yes. आगे बताना कि how in recent times mobility has, आप बताओ, increased or decreased? It has increased. देखो, जब क्वेश्चन बोलता है ना distinguish is not simply define and leave it. फिर distinguish से क्या करना पड़ेगा? आपको identify करना होगा 3-4 themes of discussion. Like say, distinguish between a person A and a person B. Person A is Indian, person B is US. Don't stop there. Say more. Person A, what culture? Person B, what culture? Person A, what economy? Person B, what economy? Person A, what concerns, what problems? Person B, what concerns, what problems? So thematically, his problems, his economy, his cultures, मैंने theme बना दिया. तो वैसे ही distinguish between the two thematically. First, tell us what are they are. Then tell us how in recent times, which is increasing, decreasing, and why. Then tell us how they impact mobility, how they impact migration. Briefly, एक या दो पैराग्राफ में खत्म करना, बट आपको उठाना पड़ेगा thematic. So, mobility is the propensity or the ability or the tendency of populations to move between locations. ये आपको create करना पड़ेगा. It's impossible you can by heart and go this. Mobility is the ability of the people to move, the tendency of people to move. Mobility includes, give a list. Migration is different, defined as, say something. Okay. In recent times, we find that mobility has increased primarily because of better modes of communication, which are faster, more comfortable, that allows people to travel to and fro faster. Whereas migrations have been a traditional pattern in how people have moved. As cities grow, as economies integrate, right? They integrate because of communication lines. They integrate because of common labor requirements, or even because of maybe virtual platforms. Migrations will decrease and mobility will increase. People become more and more mobile, and in the future, because of geopolitical issues, because of more opaque borders, policies will also encourage more mobility and less migrations. ये हम चेयर में बैठे बैठे सोच के आपको बताना होगा. Tomorrow, if US needs labor, वो क्यों बोला है कि आके मेरे पास रह जाओ? Come work 3 hours, 3 days, 3 months, 3 weeks, then go back. और छोटा मोटा काम है फिर आओ मत, Zoom में काम कर लो, खत्म करो उसको. As we have got more and more cultural upheavals, as we have more and more racial consciousness, migrations will dramatically reduce and mobility will increase, particularly for the high-skilled population, particularly for the high wages population. Is it okay, all of you? So briefly एक paragraph में बताओ difference क्या है, how they are changing, and what will the future look like. More congestion की वजह से people will not prefer to move. In fact, one way of reducing congestion is increase mobility. If I am living in Meerut or Jaipur and I can move very fast, bullet trains हैं, maybe helicopter service है, even better if I have got online work from home, I will not move at all. I will not migrate or go in the morning, come back in the evening. Yes, you're right, Sapna. So this increasing mobility can be the plan for reducing urban congestion. And then second part is very simple, not a problem. The consequence of rural to urban migration. ठीक है? Let's try another question. 20 का ही. Compare, contrast Malthusian and neo-Malthusian perspectives in the context of population growth, resource use, and environment impact. But ये आप अभी नहीं कर पाओगे until I have not taught environment issues and one concept called as limits to growth. The older students can try this one. The new ones, Malthus पहचान लो, that's good enough for now. Okay. Resource कैसे use होता है, कैसे environmental problems होते हैं, compare Malthusian and neo-Malthusian. NL3 question है ये वाला. A very tricky one. The next one, 2020 में. Write the question. Provide an account of population transition in the context of fertility decline and socio-economic development. Provide an account of world population transition to the time इस पे spend करते हैं. Let's see. क्या जालिम question क्या पूछ गया? Right? Linked to which theory? DTM theory. Right? Because ट्रांजिशन पूछा है तो डीटीएम थ्योरी है, ठीक है. इन द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ डिक्लाइन ऑफ फर्टिलिटी एंड द कंटेक्स्ट ऑफ सोशियो इकोनॉमिक डेवलपमेंट. व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय give an account of? Give an account means what? It's okay, make mistakes. Let me tell you it's wrong. Like exam mein jaake examiner tells you 0. Account of means give examples. Okay. So this question is not asking you tell me DTM theory. आप दुनिया में देखो, look how transitions have happened and tell me how they are related to decline of fertility and decline in the socio-economic or change in the socio-economic development. Does all transition happen because of decline of fertility? Right? There's also a role of mortality. Only decline of fertility will not happen, okay, and result in change of demographic transition stage. Right? तुम मुझे बताओ कहां पर हो रहा है, कैसे कैसे हो रहा है. Example number 1. Okay, African nations, okay, Sahel countries, these have the slowest transition today because they still have high TFR and high fertility. They still are tribal and not developed in terms of social and economic parameters. In the future, because of decline of fertility, they will move towards stage 2 and stage 3. 1 point done. Then, second example, South Asia and India. In these countries, the change, shift is because of both happening together. खासकर India के case में. And give them a temporal. India, what happened 21? In India, what happened 2001? In India, what's happening now? Earlier, the transition was primarily because of decline of fertility along with decline of mortality. But now there is development also. The transition is more permanent. Third example, talk about some developed countries of the world, how they have managed the dramatic decline of fertility and they move towards stage 4. Yeah, I mean, many countries there, you can talk about that. Germany, Japan and the rest. एक और हम लिखेंगे that the transition is not always about change of fertility. Can also be because of a reversal of mortality, because of conflicts and economic recession, where stage 4 से शायद 5, stage 3 or 2 भी आ सकते हैं, like Iraq. वो भी एक example है. Yes, you can also have reversal, not always okay, moving towards stage 4. So by and large, this statement is correct. But फिर आप एक और point add करो that in some countries, the transition or in all countries, the transition, according to DTM theory, does not include the role of migrations. So there are countries that can witness decline of fertility, yet they may not transit into next stage because of migration policies. I hope you got the point here. 5 point बहुत होता है आंसर के लिए. Africa as an example, South Asia as an example, in particular India. Take up one example where the conflicts have increased. Take up one example of the developed world and then say कि migration भी एक factor है जो कि इस DTM theory में नहीं है. And tell us what happens. दोबारा question पढ़ो, see if it makes sense now. Transition is not always because of socio-economic development. India का case. In India, the socio-economic condition did not change. Okay. But we transited because of population policies. So yes, Pragya, you're right. यही conversation है कि बताओ, okay, whether this is happening, not happening, where happening. Examples साथ बताओ. Heading वैसा ही होना चाहिए. Demographic transition for India because of change of fertility, not because of socio-economic development in, okay, the 50s, 60s up to 2001. The transition for India post 2001 and recently in 21st century because of socio-economic development. फिर वहां बताओ. That's how you break up your answer. The transition also has impact of migration and not merely change of fertility. So in some countries, the transition can stop. आप रोक सकते हो if you get more and more migrations. All done here? This I have discussed already. लिख लो आप ये question. Explain the relationship between NRR and to replacement level of the population. 10-mark question. So NNR is essentially around both boys and girls. TFR की बात हो रही है. To replacement का मतलब है the girls alone. The girls replacing the women. So look up the notes. I have done this already. 11, 19 में. What do you mean by climate migrants? Suggest policies and programs for their resettlement. Who are the climate migrants? And suggest policies and programs. Assess the challenges of countries with largest share of aged population. The problems of aging population with examples. In fact, in this question, I will want you to focus on this word also. Assess. Anybody, what changes now? If I add the word assess, क्या change हो गया? Assess means evaluate. Assess का मतलब है बताओ प्रॉब्लम है भी या नहीं है. मैकेनिकली मत करो यार, ये अंग्रेजी वर्ड्स है. Come on. Not even compare. Examine. Evaluate. I've gone to a doctor. Please assess my health condition. सर एक आंसर लिखा है, assess करने का मतलब क्या है? कंपेयर थोड़ी करूंगा मैं. Assess मींस बताओ अच्छा है तो क्यों अच्छा है, give me the marks. अगर नहीं है तो बताओ क्यों नहीं है, give me marks. Assessment means what? Evaluation, examination. Right? Tell me it is right or wrong. अगर है बताओ कितना प्रॉब्लम है, अगर नहीं है तो क्यों नहीं है. So this question is not a straight question on what are the problems of aging population. Assess करो कितना प्रॉब्लम है और क्यों प्रॉब्लम है. A society which has, इंडिया में कितने एजिंग पॉपुलेशन है? 7 to 8% of 1.4 billion. ठीक ठाक नंबर है ना? If I'm modest also, okay, 80-90 मिलियन हो गया आपका. It's a big number. But are we very scared right now? Is this a big number or not? In absolute terms, does India have large aging or not? Yes. But are we scared about it? Why? Because we have got a large working population. ठीक है? So, aging population, whether problem है या नहीं problem है, it depends on many factors. It depends on उस country का maybe health system कैसा है, उस country में support systems कैसे हैं, how does society support them. It depends on whether the country has the ability of spending or not. It depends on what is the working population ratio. And some countries, they have favorable migration policies. ये भी तो help करता है. So the problems of aging population is not simply about they're old and they have health issues. उसको लिख देना एक paragraph में. Yes, they have old issues. Geriatric care, mental illness, financial problems. They have psychological issues. Because they feel lonely. ठीक है, a small paragraph लिख देना. Then you move towards that these problems are actually not absolute. These problems depend more on the country's policies, the demographic age structure. It depends on the spending ability of the economy. For example, India has, in percentage terms, India has 7-8% of old population, but in absolute numbers, it is very large. Yet, for India, old population is still not a concern because we have a large aging population. Sorry, working population. I hope you got the point here. So let's say every word, I mean, if I'm passing by very fast, हाँ aging population हो जाएगा. But ठहराव के साथ पढ़ो दोबारा, it'll catch you. The question seems like GS. कि GS में कौन पढ़ाएगा आपको age structure? Who'll give you dependency ratio वाला formula? Who'll talk about second demography dividend? The question has current affairs. It doesn't automatically mean it is a GS question. Okay. You are using geographical terms. Geographical terms में, okay, they will not teach you these concepts in GS. Rajarshi, the most of us have a problem. Current affairs दिखते ही GS लगता है हमें. Okay. No. And one more thing. And this is my favorite sentence. देखो, जो questions होते हैं ना, questions are not general. Question is a question. Tell me, what are the problems of population? ठीक है? General question. Problems क्या हैं? Poverty है. Problems क्या हैं? Conflicts हैं. Problems क्या हैं? Okay, maybe aging population. Jobs नहीं है. Fine. So the question is a straight question. What happens is, जो treatment है, जो answer लिखोगे ना, that is general or it is technical. What are problems of population? Poverty, general. Problems of population, inequality, in particular gender inequality. ये technical हो गया. Problems of population, okay, lack of development. Problems of population is according to the demographic stage. ये technical हो गया. Problems of population, poverty. Problems because of Malthusian positive checks. ये technical हो गया. Problems of population, racial conflicts. Okay. If I write down as problems as a consequence of the migration trends, the source and the destination regions के अलग-अलग problems होते हैं. That's now geography. So the question is a very innocent one. Okay. Question is straight. आपका आंसर जो है वो बनता है जनरल या फिर टेक्निकल. So one way of bringing geography in the answer is, okay, use geographical concepts. Recall from the notes and the syllabus. अब syllabus में सोचो. Problems population, high TFR. Problems related to lack of replacement rate. Problems because of Malthusian positive checks. Problem because of overpopulation. Problems because of migrations. Okay, the theories we have. Problems related to problems of, okay, maybe a resource imbalance related to environment sustainability. So, अगर मेरे दिमाग में ना syllabus आएगा, your answer will not be as general. Otherwise, आप वो GS लिख के आएंगे. So this you have done. SS, I hope you got the word. Let me take up the last question. 2018 में, citing examples from Asia and Europe, comment upon the context within which pronatalist population policies are advanced, and what could be the implications of these policies on women's workforce participation. Means what? ये बताओ वो conditions क्या हैं, and comment on it means आप अपना opinion भी दो. Okay. Why will a country have pronatalist का मतलब क्या है? Country is favoring high birth rate. वो क्या conditions होंगे? वो क्या, okay, reality होगा? Okay. And comment on that. Comment means you tell us वो right है या wrong है. In which, okay, we promote pronatalist policies and tell us how it impacts women participation in the workforce. Okay. First is जो traditional societies, because it's not asking us recent लिखा नहीं है ना, बताओ कब होता है Asian. Okay. So in traditional societies, we have had pronatalist. ओके या फिर हिस्टोरिकल कंटेक्स्ट में एग्जाम्पल क्या था? आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट ओल्ड एम्पायर्स, old kingdoms. Why did they have pronatalism? Because population was part of the army and part of agriculture workforce. So countries or empires rather, which have been agrarian, which have been old empires, they have supported. This was one case. Second case बताओ. When did we have pronatalism? Pronatalism और कब था as a policy? High IMR का pronatalism policy थोड़ी है. What's the meaning of policy? Government encourages, right? High IMR essentially एक social compulsion बन जाता है. Something else, industrial revolution, where the population was the labor force. So there they have encouraged. So in the phase of industrial revolution or manufacturing transition time mein, control of population was not the priority. It was pronatal population, pronatalism in population. Next, और बताओ, this is more or less traditional वाला हो गया. Next, in the relatively modern times, can you tell me when high growth rate was a policy? Now, comment में I say understandable. I'll not say good or bad. It's understandable. You need army to workforce to fight. It is understandable hai. And this also continues in many of the present day agrarian societies, even if it's not a policy as such. But ये अभी भी होता है, understandable. This also is required. We do require this, okay, for labor force. ठीक है. Modern time बताओ, when did we have pronatalism? When aging increases, okay, that's one. One is when the age structure is skewed towards aging population. Norway, okay, Japan, okay, South Korea, Denmark, okay, Sweden, they encourage. And again, I think this is right policy. Otherwise, they fear the loss of the entire society itself. और बताओ, yeah, epidemic में तो आप वो confuse कर रहे हो. Policy का मतलब क्या होता है? Government declaring that. Policy is not any. So China is a policy, correct? So China's pronatalism 2021-22 onwards, after almost 4 decades of one-child policy. Okay, this is also fine. Yes, because they want to retain the advantage of the manufacturing economy and the need for the labor force. और कोई policy है where you can have pronatalism? Israel can explain that. Why? How? There are policies based on racist discrimination where governments have encouraged, including the Nazi Germany, the Zionist regime. You find this कि जहां पर वो racism होता है और cultural conflicts होता है, that the political fear, it is all made up. आपका number घट जाएगा, you'll become less, so you must multiply. Have you seen some declarations in India also? Right? So all the responsibility of the culture is multiply. This is an example of society which has racism tones. So India का example मत देना, because you never know who is checking your paper. That's being smart. But India may be है. That the responsibility is the minorities will now multiply very fast. They will overtake the society. The responsibility is have more children to counter the impact of the minorities. इंडिया में क्लासिकल हिंदू मुस्लिम इश्यूज में बनता है, बट इंडिया एग्जाम्पल नहीं देकर आपने दे दिया, इजराइल का दे दिया, जर्मनी का दे के छोड़ देना. This also can become a part of a society that is, now this has been promoted in Central Asia. Taliban, जो regressive societies हैं, they promote this. So this is understandable. आप comment करोगे, right? This understandable, this also understandable, but this definitely not. Zionists, Islamists, अभी difficult word है, हिंदुत्व यूज करना. Okay, so don't get into a controversy जहां पता है कि मार पड़ जाएगा. पतले करी से निकल जाना. Okay, so I'm commenting on this. Now tell me how each of this impacts women issues. Question आगे है ना, women participation. Now see, in 1, in 2, women participation will decline dramatically. Now in China and in maybe parts of this developed countries, यहाँ पर, it's not that women will have very high TFR and probably one child, that too delayed marriage में होगा शायद, अगर होता है. So यहाँ पर the women participation will not be impacted in a very big way because these societies are socially and economically developed and they also are conscious about women rights. तो यहां पे इतना ज्यादा रिवर्सल होगा नहीं. This is like the woman is the baby machine. The same applies here. Okay, you are born to have children. Race का dependency is on you. All the women support the race dominance. तो यहां पर woman is a child-bearing machine. यहां पर it's not like that. यहां पर women are educated, women are empowered. Policies are very, very supporting, including maternity leave, higher jobs, more security. यहाँ पर the TFR will not go crazy. It will increase, but in a wiser way. So in this case, the TFR increase or pronatalism may not impact the women participation rate dramatically. Fine, all of you here? You can always add here. Okay, now this can be a discussion point. That in developed countries, जैसे जर्मनी है, जैसे जापान है, और स्वीडन है, या नॉर्वे है, if labor shortages is partly supported by pro-migration policies, आप इसको यूएस में डाल दो यहां पर. One more twist or change here. In these countries where labor shortages are supported by pro-migration policies, उसमें क्या होगा? Okay, the high TFR will be for the migrants, not for the local or the natives. So उसमें क्या होगा? The women participation of the local population will continue to be high, but the participation of the migrants will become lesser. जितने आप threads खोल सकते हो, is impossible. ये आप पढ़ के जाने वाले हो. You have to have your own smartness, some reading, some understanding, and you're on. So consequently, there is no uniform impact of pronatalism. It all depends on economic development, social development, society. It depends on women education, their awareness, and the economic developments, whatever. The China mein, very unlikely that their labor participation will change dramatically. Because even if they have high pronatalism, does not mean society will accept it readily. Government ने कह दिया कि have more children, but very unlikely the society will adopt the policies very, very readily. And if they do, like I said, one child maybe or late marriage maybe, so women participation will not change dramatically, unlike the other regressive societies. All the questions you are seeing are thinking wale questions. I'm taking. Bye.